welcome to the show. Great to have you on the show as well. I used to listen to your music with my sister going on with Frankie Goes to Hollywood in the other room as well.
Good man.
Good man. Good man. But, I mean, music was in your blood, wasn't it, really, from your parents and stuff like that?
Absolutely. I mean, my dad, Marty Wilde, was obviously a great performer and a singer and a musician, songwriter, and we had an amazing record collection at home.
So how do you go from the world of rock to gardening, or is it complete opposites?
Well, I grew up in the countryside, and our neighbours were growing vegetables, and my mum started doing it when I was a kid, and I thought this was great. I remember the taste of fresh peas from down the bottom of the garden.
It is something else, isn't it?
And it's just amazing. And so I thought, when I'm a big girl, I will do that when I have a family. And when I got married in '96 and had our kids, I thought I want to grow them some vegetables. I'm still not brilliant at doing it, but every spring is something to look forward to.
Still not brilliant at doing it, but you've won gold medals at Chelsea Flower Show for designing gardens. It's fantastic. There you go. But you're here to eat.
I am.
Of course.
I can't believe it.
Now, I mentioned at the top of the show, music was in your blood, your family and stuff like that, but it wasn't until, was it the 80s, where it just, I mean, the 80s in music was incredible anyway, but you were, I mean, huge hits in the 80s. But it started quite soon in the 80s, wasn't it? Particularly in the UK, you had your first big hit.
Yeah, right at the beginning of the 80s, Kids in America was a hit in 1981. Yeah. And I was about 20 years old. And,
20 years old, but that got to #2, did it?
It did, it got to #2, and then I started selling records all over the world, and that's when life got very busy. I started doing a lot of travelling, but it was great, you know, I used to do Top of the Pops with Madness and, you know, ABC and...
But it wasn't until, I mean, I suppose everybody at that time, everybody still does now, wants to hit America.
Yeah.
But it was '87 when you hit America big, because you're one, literally, as I said, one of only 6 British women to get a #1 single?
To #1, yeah, which is
Can
great.
you remember the other 5 boys? And then we've got our garlic over here. Now, talking of the 80s, you're back out on the road again, aren't you now?
I am this May from. When are we going? We're going out on the 13th.
This is the Here and Now tour.
The Here and Now tour on the 13th, and then which starts in Liverpool, and then we finish in Wembley on the 23rd, which is the day before my sister gets married.
Right. But not only that, you've got the Here and Now tour, and then you're doing your own tour as well.
I'm doing my own tour actually in March, which is I'm going around all over Europe, like Paris and Amsterdam and all over there, doing small like rock and roll clubs, which would be a hoot. Right. And the Here and Now is in May, and I'm really looking forward to being on tour with a lot of the artists. I've worked with them many times. But
are the other artists that are doing it as well? I mean, because I went last year.
Are they Here and Now?
I did go, and I froze my backside off, sat there outside, listening to you lot, but it was fantastic.
Did you enjoy?
I did, because it just brought back so many memories. And I think if you ever go see stuff like that, my memories that I found as, you know, when you used to have as a kid, you used to have sort of you did the same. I remember talking to you earlier, but the photographs of the Ferrari and the Lamborghini on your wall, together with the bird with the tennis racket. And, everybody had that one, or was it just me? But that one, I mean, it just brings back so many great memories. The 80s was such an amazing time.
It was. It was a really optimistic time, and of course we were all a bit younger then. Of course that did help, and some great pop songs, and really songs that have stood the test of time. And when you go to the Here and Now concerts, you hear these songs and you go, oh wow, I remember exactly what I was doing, who I was dating, what car I had. It's a nice decade to go back to.
Exactly.
These days.
I mean, the pop music's changed so much over the years. Now, it seems to me that you've got to be associated with a TV programme to get anywhere in the pop world nowadays. Well,
there does seem to be an element of that, but of course, you know, you have the internet and you have there's a huge access to music that you never had before. So actually, in many ways, it's a very exciting time for music, I think. Yeah. And especially technology is so accessible now, and it's affordable now, so people can get involved in making their own music. They don't have to spend thousands going into some fancy recording studio. So actually, I think music's very exciting now. I'm very excited about downloading. Isn't that fun?
Downloading.
It's great. I love it. And you just go, oh, I fancy that, and you click on a button, and hey presto,
I've watched you on programmes. You've got the same excitement when it comes to gardening as well, because that is a huge passion in your life now.
Well, it is. Yeah. I mean, it started when I had the children and when I got married, and we have a go at growing vegetables every spring. I mean, we have varying results, but I mean, we always get out there just before Easter. We direct sow most of our stuff, get our potatoes in, get the beetroot in. The raspberries are all already up and running.
Rhubarb, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a panna cotta with rhubarb, right?
Okay,
so this is slightly different. But what I'm going to do, first of all, is we've got a rhubarb. Now, there's two types of rhubarb. There's this, obviously, outside rhubarb and forced rhubarb, the shorter shoots, the whiter in colour, those people who are buying it. But this you treat slightly different. This you need to roast it. The other rhubarb you can eat. And I think that's where sherbet dib-dab came from. Do you know that?
No.
Was a rhubarb stick in ice and sugar. I think that's where it came
Nice
from.
idea, though.
I used to eat that as a kid.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is you can chop this, boys, for me. That would be great. There we go. Give that a chop. Now, what I'm going to do now is then take our... This is some gelatine. I'm going to soak the gelatine in water. Now, it's important that you soak it in cold water. There's 2 sheets of gelatine here. Soak it in cold water. Don't do it in warm water, otherwise it will disappear. But then over here, typically with panna cotta, but I'm going to make this slightly differently. This is a buttermilk panna cotta, made very, very different to a traditional one.
That's
What I'm
lovely.
going to do is got some of this rhubarb, which we can take. We can take some of this pureed rhubarb, which is quite nice. Place that on there as well. And then you've got this rhubarb, and if you roast it like that, it keeps its lovely flavour.
Great colour.
Texture. I think it's just beautiful,
Really
rhubarb.
lovely.
But like you say, people don't often know what to do with it. But it goes really well, not just with desserts, it goes really well with things like mackerel as well. But you've got the beautiful colour if you roast it off in the
That's a
oven.
nice idea. With mackerel, so like
Mackerel,
you sort of
you
like
get the
puree
oil-
it up or something?
Yeah, well, you just do it exactly the same way as I've done there, really.
Yep.
Is that the same?
Roast, yeah, just roast it.
Lovely.
Dive in.
Good idea. I hadn't thought of that.
Good fish as
Yeah,
well.
cut through
Oh,
the-
we're full of ideas on the show, Kim.
Oh,
There you
that's a
go.
really good idea, though. I mean, I hadn't thought of it with a fish.
Buy the book, there's loads more ideas. Bring over the glasses, girls. There you go.
The plate? The one on the plate?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Now, to go with this, Susie's chosen a great wine, a Moscatel de Cippona from Waitrose, priced at £4.49. What do you think of that?
Oh, that is wonderful. It's wonderful.
What does it taste like? Because
It's
people say it tastes a bit like blancmange. You've got a little bit there, girls. There you go. Dive into that.
Well, you know, it's like there's really naughty creamy yoghurt sometimes you indulge in.
Exactly,
Sometimes a bit of that, plus that gorgeous, lovely
I think it's one of those.
rhubarb flavour. But it's not. There's no tart. Nothing tart.
But it's one of those dinner party dishes that is so simple. You know, you could easily do it at home.
It's very
nice and
sexy.
easy.
I love it.
And there you go.
Sexy
You've got a
food.
glass of wine as well. Susie's hit the nail
Want some?
with one of the wines today.
you're
Thinks
doing
she's gonna do this.
For someone who doesn't like rhubarb.
Fabulous. Well, that's all for another day on Saturday Kitchen. Thanks to Paul Merritt, Stuart Gillies and Kim Wilde. Cheers to Susie Barry for the wine choices. And today's chef's table guests, Vicky and Kerry.